Hello and welcome to Behind the Woman. I'm your host, Dr. Juhanna Rogers. This season, we will introduce you to some amazing women who are elevating the state of New York. These women come from many different backgrounds and are joining me right here on the couch to share their story. But to kick the season off, I would like to introduce Felisha Legette-Jack. Coach Jack is the head coach for Syracuse University's women's basketball team, where she was named recently as ACC Coach of the Year. As a leader and former player of the same program, Coach Jack is committed to developing leaders both off and on the court. So call your family down to the living room, send a text to your friends because they won't want to miss this episode of Behind the Woman.
This program is brought to you by the members of WCNY. Thank you. JP Morgan Chase is proud to be a corporate sponsor of Behind the Woman. JP Morgan Chase, building on investments and helping to drive inclusive growth by committing to advance economic growth and opportunity.
I got a good feeling. Yeah, I'm up on the cloud, ain't coming back down. I got a good feeling. Yeah. Yeah, I'm up on the cloud, ain't coming back down.
Where do I start? What I want to know is what led you to basketball?
You know what? I was one of those young ladies that was this tall, 6 feet.
I know
when
about
I was,
that.
yeah, you know about this. And my brother just always said, why don't you do something with yourself? And in the 5th grade, I said, well, I see you guys play basketball. I'll just try to play basketball. And I just started dribbling the ball around the house, and it became something that I didn't need a friend to do. I did it by myself, and I ended up loving it. And by the time I was in the 7th grade, I got the attention of a lady named Willetta Speece, and she just got the job at Nottingham High School.
Okay.
And the next year, in the 8th grade, she asked me to try out for the team, and I tried out for the varsity team, and I made the team. And I was the shyest person you ever want to meet, and I wouldn't look up and look in your eyes, and I just said, you know, I'll keep trying this basketball because this is what my comfort zone is, and it just gave me confidence. And by the 10th grade, I was looking people in the eyes and didn't even realize it. And it's just, a lot of people do it because, you know, look at the attention you can get from it. You know, I did it because it gave me confidence, and I was able to look people in the eyes. And from there, I learned that it could be so much more, and it became that.
So much more.
Yeah.
Did you end up beating your brothers in basketball?
You know what? My brothers would be so mean to me, and so one year when I was a sophomore in college, my brother Ronnie said, "Check ball. I'll play you at Westmoreland Park," and we check ball, and I killed him.
You did?
I beat him by 1 point. He said, run it back, and I never played him again. I was like, no.
Or he never let y'all play again?
No, he wanted to play to get that out of his mind, that his sister beat him.
But you were like, you didn't take the chance.
I'm smart, never would play him again. And he's still, he's 59, I'm 57. When we're going to have that game? Never, Ronnie, never.
I won,
yeah,
right? I don't need a rematch.
You can remember, 18, 19 wins, whatever in a row. I won the last one.
Well, you won the last one.
I got that on you, big guy.
Right. So here you are. I mean, the programs that you have had the ability to impact. Yeah. Your jersey is retired. You have winning seasons. Yeah. What you've done this season with the Syracuse women's team. What, if you think about some of the moments in your career, what have you been most proud of?
His grace. You know, you and I were at Indiana together, and I was let go, right? And so how do you bounce back? You know, African American women don't bounce back and get a second opportunity. Yeah. And so I was building a house in Charlotte. I was going to start my venture over there and try to become a life coach. And a lady named Anuka Brown called me right in the middle of it and said, I know it's not going to be a great situation, but I think you can still coach. I think that you're really good. I watched you at Indiana, and I want you to at least interview for the job at Buffalo. I said, it's been 3 months since I've been let go, so if you bring me there, get ready to have to convince yourself that I'm not the one for you, because I'm ready. I've learned lessons in these 3 months. And so I ended up going to Buffalo, interviewing, and before I can get all the way back to Indiana, Danny White called me and offered me an opportunity. And I just wanted to coach young ladies, and that would have been fine for me forever. I was there for 10 years. We went to the Sweet 16. The only team out in the SUNY system, men or women, to ever go to the Sweet 16. So I had some really fantastic coaches and players that helped me along the way. But I saw that our university, where I went to school, and the women's basketball program was disheveled, and things weren't going as well as it needed to go. The coach was asked to leave, and an intern was in place, and I always feel like I go to places where I can help it become better. And I knew that there was an opportunity for me to come back and help.
I mean, what I heard you say, though, was in the moments, and I remember you being at IU, but you mentioned like you learned things in the 3 months in between being let go and then called for an opportunity. What were some of those things?
Well, most people, when you're fired, it's an embarrassment. It's you question your skill set, and I've always succeeded in everything I've done, and I really was, we lost a lot of games. We were 6-21 that year, and it was inevitable, and at that level, but it still doesn't feel good. And so a professor asked me to speak at his class in kinesiology, and it was like over 200 people in this class, and I said, can I talk to him about what it looks like to be fired? And that was my healing process right there, and I stood before 200 young people who were going through what they're going through, being a student, and they sat there with their hats turned sideways, and by the end of the conversation, they were sitting up and they were listening, and they saw the realness. I cried in front of them, and I shared that, this isn't fun. This is my mistakes I made. This is my success I had. If I got an opportunity to do it again, this is what I would do differently. And I left that class, and every single one of those students wrote a letter asking me to come back and speak again. Because every student has that idea that they're not enough. And even though I stood there as a fire coach, I assured them that I was enough for the mirror that looks back at me. And that's all that really matters, is that mirror, right?
That looks back at you.
And so that person who fired me, because we lost games, but my success was we averaged a 3.0 GPA, and every year that we were there, even though the tough year, our attendance went up. And so I saw all the success, and he saw all the failures, and he had the right to. He was the AD. And I shared with them, the professor may not give you the grade that you want, and you did better than that B+. You know that you are better than that, and you take that home with you. You have a best friend who now is a best friend with someone else, and we talked about things of that nature, and and it gave me clarity, and I went back a couple more times. And so those are the things I took responsibility. You don't win, you gotta, you pick wrong coaches, and you're the responsible for those coaches, and didn't work out, and things went wrong, and I was the head of that problem, and I owned it, and I owned it publicly. And so that's when I realized that if I don't get a coaching job, I was going to be a life coach. I was going to go and share this story.
Because you are life coaching right now.
Yeah. Oh.
Right.
It's on my spirit. A lot of people don't want to communicate about bad things that happen. But bad things happen every day to everybody. And if we keep it a secret, it's going to continue. But if you share it, maybe they don't have to go through it because you showed what it looked like, And so we work on ourselves all day, every day. And I tell my players all the time, I'm a coach that makes mistakes all day, every day. I consider myself a phenomenal woman. Why? Because I made a mistake. And so you that come behind me, feel free to make the mistake, to get it right, but be free from it all. And so those are the things I try to do. And if he can continue to allow me to be in front of people, I think that's the message that and I call he is my God,
Right.
that I'm supposed to share with others.
There's something so real about what you shared, and I think I mentioned that coaching moment because you're right. So many times we as people run into those moments where we maybe didn't make the right decision, or we did our best, but it wasn't producing the results that were needed and necessary. And how, if we can turn those moments into lessons, right?
That's where you get your power. Your power comes from truth. Your truth can also be, you're the best person for the job, and you just don't get it. But you know that you are, and you walk away understanding that.
Right.
But the truth can be, you failed. But you can fail backwards, or you can fail forward.
Yeah.
I just made a concerted effort to fail forward. In any capacity I need to serve, just let me do your will. And I, when you have a phenomenal woman in your life like my mom, and she never saw a bad day. She always thought about her tomorrows.
Yeah.
I was just sharing with that to someone today. And you know what? Today we got one little sandwich we can eat because we ain't got no more food. Tomorrow,
we might
you might get some Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? So, we laughed and we had fun through the process.
Yeah,
of our tomorrows.
Your tomorrows. We were joking before we came on camera about my 5 years of eligibility that I still have.
Let's go. Let's go.
We'll talk about it. I'm gonna go out and see how I'm gonna dust my skills off and see where I am. But as you talk about failing forward and moving beyond that moment, you go on to Buffalo and do some record-setting, amazing things there. And then you see this opportunity at Syracuse, a program that you came out of that's in need. Talk about what it took to think about tomorrows and do the work you've done at Syracuse and turning that program around.
You know, after a while, it just can't be about you, right? You know, I did a lot of fun things as a basketball player, as an assistant coach, and even as a head coach. My whole objective when I took that Buffalo job is to not make it about me. The young people that come in front of me, we need to help them grow into their you are enoughs, you got this, and let's get it done, and they're your dreams. Let's put that on the table, and let me help you become what you say you want to become. And it became about the student athlete. Let's be a great student, let's be a great character person, let's be a great basketball player. And when I took myself out of the equation, well, I don't care about no coach of the year, I care about Sierra Dillards and the Cassie Auslers and the Stephanie Reeds evolving into people that they kind of think they could become if somebody kind of push it out of them. But nobody around them believed that they could. And we fight for that. And we fought for that every day at Buffalo. And the work ethic became amazing. Because every now and then I get out there and work out with them. And it just all of a sudden, we won a MAC championship, or another one, and then we're into Sweet 16, and we go, and all of it comes back 10 times fold when you give it away. And I wanted to give it away. And so I'm in the business, and my brother thinks I'm crazy. I love to help somebody in need. Buffalo needed us. They won 8-9 games before I got there. And we never talked about winning. We talked about it winning being easy and the process. Are you willing to go through the process? And so when we went through all of Buffalo for 10 years and this thing came open at Syracuse, I had 4 players that stayed, 4 players. And I had to come up with at least 8 more to have a team. And when I tell you, it was a tough time because everybody thought it was impossible. No one really came around to really say, hey, you need anything? Are you good? There's Liv right across that's still here with me right now. She was my major support person through this whole process, sports information, and she just made the word seem like it was golden when we only had no players. And we went and got 8 mid-major kids that really wanted to tell their story. And we did, and that year we won 20 games. And it doesn't hurt to have a young lady named Deasia Fair come with me, and Georgia Woolley and Sanaya Wilson. They all came with me from Buffalo, and they believed. They're like, when you get kids that really, your eyes, you know, your dies with, and you go to Alaska and be the head coach, they're coming with you.
Yeah.
And I got lucky enough and blessed enough to have 3 amazing young ladies join me. And it's been a blessing ever since.
Yeah. What I do know from even being a mom of an athlete is that process that it takes.
Yeah.
Right? That it's bigger than the individual, right? And my question around that is, in today's age where things have become more isolated and being an influencer has become full-time jobs, right?
Yes, so true.
Right? And in the world of college athletics is also changing. How do you maintain that process, that team-oriented culture, when so much of society outside of the sports are kind of coming in and reinforcing individual significance?
Yeah, it's getting tougher every day. And so I tell my players this all the time, all we have is a moment. We might just have this day, because who's to say that after practice, somebody won't go out and get hit by a car? I hate to say it, that vulgar. All we have is right now. And so I pour out all of me into them for that particular practice, that particular game, that particular trip we take, or that year. And after that year, we got to reevaluate who's going to still be here. And you think that you said enough or done enough where they all will come back. That isn't how it happens. We lost a major starter this year. We lost some other key kids that could have really helped us this year. My hope is not that they return. My hope is that I gave them enough of me from him that they can continue to become that valuable person to the mirror for themselves, and when they sit quietly and not make it about NIL, not make it about, I hope I find somebody that don't yell or whatever, and make it about themselves. And if that's the case, then that this moment wasn't in vain. My understanding is that it's an evolving situation now, and I don't see it ever going back to you're going to get the age of fear for 5 years. Those days are over. And I'm already, before I even went to Buffalo, was under that realization, because I came from a position where I was fired, right? And so I got to pour out. And so what I try to do now is give it all I have and ask him every night before I go to bed, was that enough? And there's things you're going to think about, like, oh, no, I should have said that. I could have done that. I didn't do these 2 things. If you wake me up in the morning, those are the first things on my list.
Those are the first things on your list. I love that. He's speaking to and through you right now. Because I'm thinking about what you've done, Coach of the Year, the history making, the commitment you have to not just sport, but to the young women that are engaged in it and equipping them. But I also think about you as a figure, right, in this world and evolving sense of college athletics. And, we just concluded the Final Four and the success of the women's team at USC and Coach Dawn and all of the
she's awesome.
All that's happening. That's a very different momentum around women's sports that we haven't seen before.
Well, it's been percolating for a long time, being in the Midwest. I mean, we go into Nebraskas and Purdue's and Michigan States, and you're getting 8,000 people coming to watch a women's game. It hasn't been so much here in this area, state of New York, if you will, for women's basketball. I mean, you get 35,000 people to watch a men's game, and you get 1,500 to watch a women's game, because we're not seeing people like me on TV and sharing the story and watching us grow and going through it and understanding our story. And I think it's all changed now, because 18.3 million say, we see you all and we are tuned in to 12 million to watch men. Not to put men down, but I think in order to balance this thing out, it has to be assuredness that we got your back. And we're going to watch, and we're going to figure this thing out, this women's basketball game, and we're going to continue to learn through the process, like you take your team through the process, and we're coming. And if you do come, you're going to see the Caitlin Clarks of the world that's shooting way beyond, at the logo they call it. You're gonna see a little kid named, a young lady I should say, named Deasia Fair, who finished 3rd in the scoring history of women's basketball in its totality at 3,400 points a game. And you're gonna start appreciating where we play the game underneath the rim as opposed to men above. And it's just time for Syracuse to really buy into what we're doing.
Yeah.
I could have been anywhere else. I didn't need to be at Syracuse. There was other opportunities for me to become a head coach. I made a calculated decision to come back and help my alma mater, to help this athletic department, with this community, because I want the people that have left Syracuse to want to come back and support it for a day or two if that's, you don't want to move back, but to love when you come back and see the growth. How do you do that? The people that are here and that's staying, you got to get involved and you got to love up on our program.
I can feel it. I'm like, we're gonna have a behind the woman night at the at the game, because I'm also thinking about what that says for the ladies that step onto the court, right? And how that energy, that support, right, may encourage or help them understand the community that they're a part of in different ways. If there was something for a young person that's in this community that might be looking for that confidence, right? For looking to put on the uniform and say, hey, I want to play for Coach Jack at some point. What is it that you would tell them? What is it that you would want them to focus on?
Just keep your head down and tend to the sheep, you know, work on your craft, get after it. You know, I was one of those people that, you know, I didn't hang out with a lot of people. I just kind of worked on my game, and I just kind of, you know, stayed around my mom and stuff, and I stay safe. You know, I wasn't a party person. Not to say you can't do that, but what you're doing in that little weirdness that nobody else want to do, this kind of go to Thornton Park and shoot hoops at the chain nets. I'm by myself. Be that eagle. Be that eagle. And if you are serious about, I mean, I was a top 40 athlete, and I could have went anywhere in the country to play. I chose Syracuse because it was the only school that mattered to me. Because watching men's basketball and watching the women's basketball games and seeing how incredible it was to get up that hill. I know my brothers wanted to go to Syracuse in the worst way, and they were denied that opportunity. And I said, and I just watched and listened, and I became, and when I put on that uniform, nobody know. It was the most emotional moment that I've ever had, because I didn't go there to play first for Syracuse. I represented the Legette family, because they were denied an opportunity. And every person that lives in Syracuse can be that person that represent their family as they put on that uniform. And it is magical. And I didn't try to become the all-time leading scorer, rebounder, which I was for 20 years. I throw that at you.
I didn't try.
I didn't try to win championships. We've done that. I tried to make certain that after the whole thing was over with, my mom and my brothers and sisters were proud of me, because I know that they were going to be witnessing what I did on a daily basis, because they didn't just come up the hill and see.
It was bigger than you. It
was absolutely bigger than me, and I'm trying to build this program with New Yorkers. I got some Australians on my team. I got some people from all over the country, but if you look at my recruiting of the last year and the people I'm bringing in for this upcoming season, it's laced with the Mecca of the world. That's what I call the state of New York. And we're the best school in the state of New York, is Syracuse. And we're gonna have people from New York State represent. And that's when they were great.
Right. I feel like after this episode, we're gonna see the parks flooded.
Oh, let's go. It's time.
It's time.
That's where you get it done.
Put the video games down.
Berry
Let's
Park.
get back
I'm so tired of walking by Berry Park and see one person there. Come on, that fence was laced with people saying, I got next.
Yeah.
Let's go, Thornton Park. Let's go, Kirk Park. That's my home. I got to see it flooded.
Yes.
What do you need? You need basketballs? So the athletic department need to bring basketballs to that area to drop off and so people can shoot and play. Tell us, community, what do you need? Because we're here to help you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's play.
Let's go. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Jack, for joining me today on Behind the Woman and allowing us to learn more about you and how you are working to create leaders on the court and in this community. Thank you. If you would like to watch this episode again, and you should, or watch past seasons of the show, go to wcny.org/behindthewoman. Join me next time as I sit down with world-renowned conductor Johanna Rogers to talk about her trailblazing career and how she continues to inspire others through her work with the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra. My name is Dr. Juhanna Rogers, and on behalf of the Behind the Woman team, thank you for watching.
This program is brought to you by the members of WCNY. Thank you. JP Morgan Chase is proud to be a corporate sponsor of Behind the Woman. JP Morgan Chase, building on investments and helping to drive inclusive growth by committing to advance economic growth and opportunity.
I got a good feeling. Yeah, I'm up on the cloud, ain't coming back down. I got a good